every ruler holds a weapon, but the most dangerous one is the one you never see. It doesn't cut flesh, it cuts perception. It reshapes how people think, what they fear, and who they follow. It can turn weakness into strength, turn lies into truth, turn ordinary men into unquestioned rulers. For centuries, this weapon has decided who rises and who vanishes from history. And the man who exposed it was not a king, not a conqueror, but a political exile who studied power with cold, ruthless clarity. Niccolò Machiavelli watched princes rise and collapse. He saw how fear outlasts love, how image crushes reality, and how control is built not on force, but on belief. From his observations, he crafted a manual for domination, a strategy so precise, it still governs politics, leadership, and manipulation to this day. This is the prince's secret weapon. To understand Machiavelli, we must step into Florence. Not the romantic renaissance of paintings and poetry, but the Florence of rival families, foreign invaders, and political knives hidden in velvet sleeves. Italy was not one nation, but a chessboard of city-states. Florence, Venice, Milan, the Papal States, each plotting against the other. Alliances shifted weekly. Mercenaries sold their loyalty to the highest bidder. Betrayal was not an exception. It was the air everyone breathed. Machiavelli rose as a diplomat in this environment. He observed power not from the safety of philosophy alone, but from the front lines of politics. He saw how men acted when their survival was at stake, how rulers maintained power when morality crumbled. And when the Medici family returned to power and purged their enemies, Machiavelli was imprisoned, tortured, and exiled. He had lost his status, his city, his future. But in exile, something shifted. Rather than mourn the game, he began to decode it. And from the ruins of his career, he wrote The Prince, not as a dreamer, but as a man who had stared directly into power's unmasked face. Machiavelli saw what most never do. Power is not held by force alone. Power rests on what people believe. Armies may conquer cities, but perception conquers people. A ruler's true strength lies not in what he is, but in what others think he is. It is unnecessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but very necessary to appear to have them. He advised princes to master appearances, project virtue, speak of justice, invoke religion. Let the people see mercy, humility, strength, and faith. Even if none of it exists beneath the surface, the prince must become a stage actor. Every gesture calculated, every word deliberate, every public display designed to shape perception, not reflect truth. Because people, Machiavelli observed, do not examine closely. They judge with their eyes, not their hands. They believe the spectacle, and whoever controls that spectacle rules. Machiavelli's genius was not simply identifying perception as power. It was revealing how to wield it with cruelty and calculation. He taught that a ruler must wear a mask of virtue, but behind that mask, he must hold a knife. The prince should appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright. But he must be ready to abandon these virtues the moment they threaten his power. A prince must learn how not to be good and use this knowledge as necessity requires. In other words, morality is a tool, not a master. Appearances are armor. Reality is a weapon. To rule effectively, one must be both fox and lion. The lion represents strength, force that crushes opposition. The fox represents cunning, seeing traps and deceiving enemies. A prince who is only lion becomes predictable and vulnerable. A prince who is only fox inspires little fear and is easily overthrown. But one who blends deception with strength becomes untouchable. This fusion, the mask and the knife, is the prince's secret weapon. Machiavelli asked one of the most unsettling questions in political philosophy. Is it better to be loved or feared? His answer was not poetic, it was surgical. It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Love, he argued, is unreliable. It depends on gratitude, loyalty, and emotion, all of which fade. Fear, however, is dependable. It keeps people obedient even when affection dies. But there is a crucial distinction. The prince must avoid being hated. Hatred breeds conspiracy. Fear maintains order. This balance, inspiring fear without breeding hatred, rewarding loyalty strategically, punishing betrayal instantly, is the psychological engine of Machiavellian control. The weapon isn't raw cruelty. It's calibrated fear, cold, consistent, hidden behind noble appearances. Machiavelli wasn't merely writing for princes. He was diagnosing human nature, and his diagnosis was dark. Most people do not seek truth. They seek security, stories, and the illusion of stability. They obey strength. They follow appearances. They avoid uncertainty. A prince who understands this psychology doesn't need to constantly fight his people. He simply gives them the illusions they crave, and they will obey willingly. He must create narratives that simplify the world, symbols that unify, enemies that clarify, spectacles that inspire. In this way, control is maintained not through constant violence, but through mental architecture. The prince doesn't need to chain the body when he already commands the mind. Centuries later, Machiavelli's weapon has not rusted, it has evolved. Today's princes don't sit on thrones. They sit in boardrooms, in parliaments, on screens. They don't raise armies. They raise images. They don't conquer cities. They conquer attention. The battlefield is no longer Florence. It's the human mind. Modern leaders project moral certainty while operating in shadows. Corporations craft narratives of virtue while pursuing power with precision. Media empires build entire realities around perception. Machiavelli would not be surprised. He would not. Because the modern prince doesn't need to hide behind walls. He hides behind stories, and the masses willingly step inside. Machiavelli revealed something uncomfortable. Power doesn't belong to the good. It belongs to those who understand the stage. The prince's secret weapon is perception, wielded by a mind that knows when to charm, when to deceive, and when to strike. Truth is irrelevant. Appearance is everything. And in every age, the ruler who masters the mask controls the world behind it. Machiavelli's weapon was never the sword. It was the mask, and the hand that wears it decides the fate of empires.